Hey, welcome to a new video. This footage, reportedly recorded in the United Kingdom, shows a disturbing encounter right outside a homeowner's apartment. It all began late one evening when the homeowner heard strange noises coming from outside. Looking out, he sees a figure dressed as a nun, pacing back and forth along the sidewalk. Concerned, he steps out to greet her and asks why she's not wearing shoes. Despite his repeated questions about her well-being, the nun was silent, giving no responses. Frustrated, he warns that he'll call the police if she doesn't leave. The eerie image of a lone nun wandering the streets at night has unsettled viewers, reminiscent of the creepy clown sightings that plagued the US in 2016. While some speculate that it could be an innocent prank, others are left uncertain.
Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And before we start, also like the video.
This is the body cam footage from an encounter in November 2021, where officers responded to a call with sirens blazing. They stormed into the house, immediately sensing something strangely unsettling. Some places are so haunted, you can feel the negative energy the moment you walk in, and this house seemed to be one of them. The officers moved through the living room toward the bedroom, their flashlights cutting through the darkness, but things got creepy when they started up the stairs. At that moment, the body cam footage began to glitch. Upstairs, a door slowly creaked open, leading to a bedroom, but there was nothing inside. The officers, visibly shaken, hesitated but continued their search. As they investigated other rooms in the basement, they began hearing noises, as if some demonic force or poltergeist was present. Unfortunately, it's unclear what happened next to the officers or the house. But even for a seasoned cop, this was a terrifying experience. The House of the Watts family, in my opinion, is one of the most believable ghost sightings I've ever seen. The reason for this is because the video footage comes directly from a body cam from one of the agents. In the house, Shanann Watts lived with Chris Watts and their two children. Because of Chris's actions, Shanann and her two daughters, Bella and Cece, are no longer among us. The story is too grim to tell you on YouTube, so if you want to know what happened, you better look it up yourself. In the following video, we see two agents from the K-9 unit entering Chris's house to investigate their disappearance. As soon as they're inside, we immediately see something transparent appear on the left side of the stairs walking down the stairs. The home investigation took about 2 hours, and in several instances, voices are captured on the body cam. Just listen. But at one point, when they want to investigate the closet, one of the agents hears a voice of a child giggling.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. What in the world was that?
Wow.
The woman is so confused that she lets the other agent figure it out, who also heard the sound, but they couldn't find where it was coming from.
I heard it. I definitely heard the same thing you did.
Yeah, and then he just sort of turned around.
After the house was searched and the man was taken away, there were also reports of neighbors seeing an appearance of a woman walking around the house a day later. A TikTok user named Alex Huff one day decides to make a makeup tutorial in her room because several people had asked for it. When she starts explaining, a closet door slowly opens behind her. She's scared to death and gets up to take a look.
I'm gonna try that on, and no.
Other people thought that maybe someone slammed the door. A few days later, they uploaded another video in which you can clearly see that there is no one in the closet. I personally think that the video's real, but I could be wrong. What do you think's going on here? This video was broadcast on the evening news in Ecuador, starting with a seemingly innocent scene of a boy filming the elaborate tattoo on his father's back with his phone. But during the video, something unexpected and terrifying happens. When the boy reviews the footage, he is startled by a strange and frightening face that inexplicably appears in the recording. The strange face has sparked much mystery and discussion among viewers, with some believing that the boy accidentally captured evidence of an interdimensional being. This theory suggests that the face belongs to a creature from another dimension, which is temporarily visible through the camera lens. However, it's explained that this mysterious face adds a mysterious element that continues to fascinate and unsettle viewers. Around Halloween in 2018, the Honolulu Police Department shared a ghost story that had happened to one of their officers at Poly Lookout. Officer Tisa was conducting routine checks at the Poly Lookout, securing the Poly Highway gates. At night, officers were responsible for closing both gates. As she approached the lookout, something caught her attention. A white figure ominously standing in the shadows. Cautiously, she approached and soon realized the figure resembled a woman dressed in white. Concerned for the woman's well-being, she stopped and lowered her window to speak to her. But as she turned around, she was startled to find out that the woman had something moved to the back seat of her police car. Remembering her grandmother's advice to remain calm when dealing with spirits, the officer began speaking gently to the apparition, addressing her as Auntie in an attempt to soothe both herself and the ghost. As she continued her rounds, she arrived at the second gate, quickly stepping out to close it. When she returned to the car, the spirit was still there. The officer explained to the ghost that she was just doing her job, and couldn't take her to Kailua, but hoped she would be safe. As the officer drove through the tunnel to leave the lookout, she glanced in her rearview mirror and saw that the woman in white had disappeared.
This video is definitely the scariest, because the boys were exploring various hidden places, and at one point they encountered a creepy man in a tunnel. This abandoned tunnel was hidden deep in the woods somewhere. When the boys entered the location, it was already pretty scary, but they never expected to encounter someone there. As they penetrated deeper and deeper into the tunnel, they suddenly realized they weren't alone. Watch what happened. Of course, the YouTubers got scared and started running out of the tunnel. Although we can't see who exactly is following them, you can tell from their faces that it was a very creepy person hiding there. A car was almost at the end of the Ocean Avenue Bridge in Palm Beach, Florida, when for some reason the man decided to stop. But why is he stopping the car at this exact spot? Seconds later, the bridge begins to open, causing the driver to panic and open his door. But what's the man's reasons for why he did this? Fortunately, nothing serious happened and the bridge only pushed the car forward, at which point the man drives off again. It turns out that the bridge operator hadn't seen the car when he opened the bridge. But the authorities did not accept this excuse, which resulted in the resignation of the bridge operator.
What happens when a ghost hunter's sister undergoes a creepy transformation after an adventure in an abandoned house? New Jack from the channel Haunted Before Bed takes you through a nerve-wracking story where ghost hunters bring about unexpected changes that no one saw coming. In a spine-chilling scene, we see a woman deeply asleep, completely unaware of the terrifying presence beside her bed. A ghost kneeling beside her seems to be playing with her hair, gently tugging at the strands. But suddenly, the woman wakes up, her face contorted in fear as if she realizes she's not alone. The tension's palpable, and she walks through the house and then climbs over a fence, seemingly to escape the ghost in her sleep. Or what else could have happened in this video? During a quiet night shift at a police station in Malaysia, 3 officers were focused on their routine tasks, the usual hum of equipment and distant echoes of traffic filling the air. But the calm was abruptly shattered when the doors of the station suddenly flew open, with a force that sent chills down their spines. It wasn't a windy night. In fact, the air was perfectly still, which made the violent slamming of the doors even more disturbing. The officers jumped from their seats, their hearts pounding in their chests as they exchanged confused glances. The force behind the door's movement felt unnatural, leaving them with an eerie sense that something extraordinary was happening. Understandably on edge, they scanned the area, wondering what had just occurred. Could it have been the spirit of an angry criminal seeking revenge?
The following video is said to have first appeared on Mexican television sometime in 2005. Unfortunately, I couldn't find much info about it, but we see a television host who's looking for something or someone at a cemetery in the middle of the night. After a while, he hears something that looks like a little girl crying. The television host looks to see where the sound's coming from and suddenly sees something sitting by a gravestone. The man decides to shout something, and then this happens.
Amiga. Niña. Ay, no seas imbécil.
According to stories circulating on the internet, the television host is said to still have nightmares of what happened that night. This TikTok video was supposed to have been uploaded somewhere at the beginning of December 2019 by the user EricCar1971. The video is from her security camera, which she installed outside the house. In the video, we see a white shadow-like figure walking over her driveway. It's hard to see, but you can clearly see that something is walking. Eric R. himself believes that this may have been the spirit of her father, who died a week earlier on November 26, 2019. Many people in the comments believe that this is indeed a ghost, while others say that it's just some dust or a reflection of the headlights of her car. Since she posted the video on TikTok, it's been watched more than 3.7 million times. What do you think this translucent figure is?
The transcript of the YouTube video tells a chilling story about a 53-year-old mother named Candace, who is deeply worried about her son. She suspects that something's terribly wrong with her son Tommy, due to his strange and rapid growth, as well as his lack of communication and bizarre behavior. Despite her efforts to get closer, he remains distant. He wears a mask and avoids eye contact, and refuses to eat. Candace contacts the channel creators, who decide to visit her home to investigate. Upon arrival, they notice Candace's concern and learn about Tommy's peculiar behavior since the death of his father, Michael. Tommy had disappeared into the forest for 3 days and returned behaving differently, disguised with a mask and avoiding his mother. The investigation team installs cameras throughout the house to monitor Tommy's nightly activities, and they observe him acting strangely. Despite the disturbing evidence, Candace is reluctant to call the police, fearing they won't understand her son. The team decides to stay another night to further observe Tommy, but the situation escalates when they hear noises during the night. The next morning, they discover that Candace is missing, and the window in her room has been shattered, suggesting that Tommy might have taken her. The video ends with the investigators questioning their own safety and Candace's mysterious disappearance. What do you think happened? Let me know in the comments.
In 2016, a remarkable incident unfolded in Pasco County when the sheriff's deputies discovered a suspect hiding in a highly unusual spot. The scene was captured by an officer's body cam as deputies entered Jason Taylor's house to serve a felony arrest. Taylor was wanted for a violation of his probation related to a serious charge, armed robbery. As the deputies cautiously entered the house, the tension was palpable. They were well aware of the nature of the warrant they were serving, as well as the risks involved. As they methodically searched the house, one sharp-eyed deputy noticed something unusual about a cabinet. The furniture, typically an ordinary piece, had been altered in a way that suggested that it was more than just a place to store clothes. If Taylor had remained silent, he might have gone undetected. But the deputies opened the cabinet and found the man wanted inside. His arrest was immediate, and he was taken into custody with a bond set at $50,000. It's no secret that people around the world still manage to find bombs and mines from World War II. The scariest thing is that you never know if it can still explode or not. But the person in this video seems to be very brave. With a metal detector, he manages to find various items, including a couple of silver dimes, a ring, and a Mexican 5 centavos from 1943. But all these things were nothing compared to what he found next. The man found a real bomb from World War II underground. Normally, you would call the authorities right away, but the man decided to pick it up with his bare hands. It's not advisable to even go near these things if you find them, so be aware. One day, the residents of Coffee County, Alabama were harassed by an unidentified creature that inhabited the woods. Concerns grew day by day, and the mystery even caught the attention of news media. According to local reports, people could hear loud screams in the evening. They were sure it wasn't a coyote, nor any other animal that they're used to seeing in the woods. However, when experts went to look, they found something unusual. This happened in 2020, and to this day, the creature has still not been identified. Some people think this could be the legendary Bigfoot or a skunk ape.
A YouTuber receives a frantic call from her visibly shaken father, who wants to show her something terrifying that was just captured on their security camera. As the YouTuber watches the footage with growing anxiety, she sees something unmistakable. She sees an extremely tall, ghostly figure, its back turned to the camera, sliding away from the house in a strange manner towards the shadows beyond. Just as suddenly as it appeared, the figure mysteriously vanished, sending chills down her spine. Despite the eerie sound echoing through the video, her attention is mainly drawn to a single still frame, captured just 5 seconds into the recording. This frame reveals the ghostly figure in breathtaking detail. As the YouTuber stares at the image, she gets an ominous feeling. Where did the figure go, and what does it want? The unsettling thought that this entity isn't gone for good lingers, suggesting that the family may soon have another encounter with this ghostly visitor. Pretty scary, huh?
An officer parked his car at a National Police facility, leaving it there for just a few minutes. But then the car mysteriously started moving on its own. It was as if someone was driving it, but as you can see, there's no one in the driver's seat. Not only did the car slowly move forward, but it rolled toward the nearest wall. Once it reached the wall, it didn't stop. The car even reversed, and it hit the wall again. A few moments later, the bewildered officer returned to find his car from where he'd left it. But things got even stranger. The car's alarm and lights started going off on its own.
The officer tried to fix the situation and called someone else to help inspect the vehicle. This kind of incident could drive you crazy if you were the only one seeing it. The second guard attempted to move the car to see if there was a brake issue, but the car stayed in place. Was there an invisible force moving the car? What do you think? Let me know in the comments.
If you watch the scary videos on this channel, then you know I've talked about Gettysburg before. It was here that the greatest battle of all time of the American Civil War took place. According to many people, this place is teeming with ghosts. However, there's a video that's said to be one of the most credible ghost sightings ever. The following video was shot in November of 2001, and a family on vacation saw something moving in the woods opposite of them. Now, it's pretty hard to see, but some experts from the Dark Zone have stabilized the footage, and you can see several figures marching back and forth. What makes this video very believable, in my opinion, are the reactions of the family, and especially their child, who asks who those people are.
Look. Look. They hit those people. Can't be.
There's no
Not up in the trees.
This would be impossible, according to the family and the experts, because the figures also seem to be marching high up in the tree. Billy Golf is a TikTok user who's not very well known, but she had uploaded one video that went super viral and now has over 24 million views. Like many other people on TikTok, she made a dance video about the song Obsessed by Mariah Carey. She's wearing a onesie and jumps on the kitchen table to record her dance moves. While doing this, a transparent or witty person walks by the door on the left behind her. The ghost walks from the right to the left, and when the girl looked back at the statues, she was very scared. In the TikTok post, she says that she was home alone and had no idea what this could have been. The shadowy figure seems to pass by pretty quickly, as if it doesn't want to be seen. What do you think this was? Is Billy's house haunted, or could it have been something else? Let me know in the comments. This next video starts with a scene in a cemetery where someone is busy sweeping away a puddle that is collected on the ground. But at some point, something strange begins to happen. The water starts swirling in an unusual, mesmerizing way, and the strange movement of the water immediately draws the attention of viewers. Many quickly speculate about the paranormal significance of this scene. Given the graveyard setting, several onlookers are convinced that the swirling water could be the result of a spirit trying to communicate with the living. This interpretation points to a deep-rooted fascination with the supernatural, where the dead are often believed to still be present in places like cemeteries. According to the story, they are said to linger there, seeking recognition or communication with the world of the living.
In a dimly lit security office, a guard found himself in a chilling conversation, convinced he was speaking with a living woman. He was fascinated by her presence and believed she was a visitor named Miss Abigail, who wanted to see Mr. Griffin. The guard relayed her message, informing her that the office was closed and suggesting she return the next morning when someone would be available. However, as he continued the conversation, the dispatcher interrupted with a shocking revelation. The woman the guard was speaking to had passed away 2 years ago. The weight of this revelation hit the guard as he looked around the empty office, realizing he wasn't talking to a living person, but a ghost. The guard was simply doing his job, but the footage from the security cameras showed that he was the only one who could see Miss Abigail.
In this video, a popular YouTuber named Guava Juice goes to a haunted house somewhere in Peru. Besides the fact that the place where he is very creepy, he also claims to capture a ghost on camera here. According to him, there's multiple haunted houses in Peru filled with all sorts of ghosts. And if you've captured one on camera, you've been very lucky, because a ghost doesn't just appear out of nowhere. Ghosts often appear at times when you least expect it. In the case of Guava Juice, it seems that he saw a shadow of something or a ghost appearing in the window. However, he says that he's not afraid of ghosts, but unfortunately, he couldn't enter the house because it was off limits. The following video comes from the YouTube channel Mindseed TV, who is known for exploring haunted locations. In one of the videos, they tried to investigate a mysterious whisper in a cave. When they heard the strange sound, they tried to convince themselves that it was just the wind blowing into a narrow opening at the end of the cave. But according to them, the wind can't make whisper-like sounds. Listen for yourself.
Shh. What is that?
They were not deterred by the scary sound and investigated the cave further. At one point, the whispering sound seemed to come from everywhere, even from behind them. Unfortunately, we don't know what the sound was, as they decided to leave the cave immediately after this.
In this chilling footage, set against the backdrop of an abandoned building slowly being overrun by trees and bushes, a ghostly phenomenon is captured.
The building, once full of life, now stands in a state of decay, seemingly being swallowed by the relentless forces of nature. In the midst of this eerie yet beautiful setting, the video captures what appears to be the ethereal apparition of a child's spirit. The vibrant greenery of the surrounding vegetation contrasts sharply with the faded colors of the building, further enhancing the mysterious atmosphere. This ghostly figure remains visible for a few seconds before mysteriously disappearing, leaving viewers with a spine-chilling sense of wonder and unease. The combination of the abandoned building and the possible presence of a youthful ghost raises interesting questions about the past and the stories that such forgotten places might hold. Could it be that this spirit reflects the untold tales of sorrow that once existed in the building? What do you think?
What started as a typical Saturday evening quickly turned into something otherworldly for Officer Carl Romero. While monitoring the security cameras around the station, he noticed something unusual. At first, he thought it was just a bug, a fly, or even a moth, but upon closer inspection, he saw what looked like a leg and quickly realized it was human, but not entirely human. It appeared to be a ghost. The video shows a subtle, transparent figure moving in a way that no person could. Can you imagine the fear that this officer must have felt seeing this during his night shift?
The following video comes from a ghost hunter named Phil Koch, and he decides to investigate the Alchemist Theater in Milwaukee, Wisconsin on his own. According to stories, this is said to be one of the spookiest places in the city. When he walks into the theater, he decides to sit down on one of the seats and leaves the camera rolling, in hopes of capturing something. For a long time, nothing happens, but then finally something happens. Just watch.
Something just moved behind me.
As you saw, the chair behind him folded open. But this wasn't the scariest thing that happened, because a moment later, he's walking around the building and he hears footsteps above him. At first, he thought that people were working upstairs, but later he found out that this was not the case. When he wants to check one of the rooms, this happens.
And we'll take a look. It's still back here again. And we'll take a look. Hello? Hey.
But this is not the only thing, because it gets even scarier. After this happens, he runs out as fast as he can, and from what I understand, he hasn't returned since. This video has been uploaded by a TikTok user named Pongo Pig the GSP. Many people believe that pets like dogs and cats have a sixth sense that allow them to feel paranormal things. In this video, the dog Pongo seems to see something at the dresser. The owner tells us that they keep the ashes of their previous dog in a wooden box in the right cabinet. A few days later, the family uploads another video in which the dog shows the same behavior and makes a growling sound.
There's literally no one there.
However, the strange thing about this is that they had moved the ashes to another location the day before. So what does the dog see? Does it see a ghost, or what do you think? Let me know in the comments. This chilling footage shows a shadowy figure gliding across the screen, its form barely recognizable but unmistakably present. The eerie sight becomes even more unsettling when you know the backstory. Just 5 months earlier, the house was destroyed in a devastating fire, in which both the family dog and the grandmother who lived there tragically passed. Since then, the homeowner has believed that the figure in the video is the restless spirit of the grandmother, unable to find her peace after her violent end. The theory that ghosts appear after violent deaths is deeply rooted in folklore and psychology. Many believe that when people die suddenly or traumatically, their spirits can become trapped in the physical world. This attachment to the physical world could be due to strong emotional ties to their surroundings and unresolved issues. In the grandmother's case, her deep love for her family and attachment to the house she cared for could be why her spirit still lingers.
A police officer was working the night shift at a station in Venezuela when he decided to take a walk next to his car. In the distance, a mysterious light flickered. The light appeared suddenly, casting a ghostly glow that made the surroundings feel almost supernatural. As the officer continued his walk, he noticed that whenever a vehicle approached, the light grew brighter, revealing what lay ahead. Intrigued by the sudden appearance of light, the officer wondered what it could mean. As he walked, his attention was drawn to a specific spot where the light had shone the brightest, near some dense bushes. Suddenly, he saw a figure emerge from the shadows. The apparition resembled a woman, though her face was not clearly visible. The officer's instincts kicked in as he cautiously approached, wondering if she needed help. This mysterious figure matched descriptions he had heard of the woman in white, a ghostly apparition said to roam the area in search of assistance. Dressed in what seemed to be a white gown, she appeared lost, and the officer stood stunned as the figure suddenly disappeared again.
FaZe Adapt and some other guys had the idea to explore an abandoned insane asylum in April 2016. However, they captured something creepy on camera that was later discovered by the people in the comments. We all know it's a bad idea to visit places like these, but it seems like YouTubers aren't afraid at all. When you watch this video, you get the feeling that they are in a video game. And it's also very frightening what they found in the dark. Some creature with glowing eyes gave people in the comments the scare of their lives. The boys themselves later realized that a strange creature was staring at them in the dark. Other people claimed that it was just an object and not a creature. Whatever it was, I think most people would prefer to never explore a place like this.
There's been a whole bunch of UFO sightings over the years. Although some can be described as weather phenomena, there is a small percentage that remain unexplained. For example, in 2020 there was a sighting of a glowing object hovering over the Hugh Titan Canyon forest in Guadalajara, Mexico. But that's not the first time that someone saw a UFO in Guadalajara, because in 2012, in the middle of a nighttime storm, some people captured on camera something that looked like an alien spacecraft. Could these really be UFOs? At first, only a group of lights are visible moving, and then the sky is lit up by lightning, and we see it more clearly, followed by another lightning bolt. But this time, we seem to see a huge spaceship. Do you believe in UFOs and aliens? Or what else do you think could have caused this? Let me know in the comments.
In September 2024, a Reddit user shared a chilling story that quickly attracted and disturbed many readers. The story revolves around the tragic incident involving the user's uncle, who died under violent circumstances in 2017. His uncle was a recovering substance addict, and the situation further deteriorated when one of his roommates became involved with a group of criminal people. During a failed robbery attempt, an acquaintance of the uncle's roommate broke into their house, intending to steal an iPad, but it ended fatally. A few months after the incident, the user's aunt took a photo that still haunts the family. She simply wanted to capture the freshly fallen snow outside her house, but she caught something strange in the shot. When she shared it with her family, they noticed something unusual, a reflection that looked like a man sitting on the couch inside. The aunt insisted that she had been alone at this time, but upon closer inspection, the family noticed an uncanny resemblance between the reflection and the deceased uncle. Years later, the family discovered that the image was a live photo that contained a few seconds of video. When they placed this live version, they were shocked to see the reflection move, as if the man on the couch had turned his head towards the camera.
Police officers are human just like us. In this incident, an officer responded to reports of suspicious activity and noises coming from the woods. But as he got closer, a bone-chilling scream echoed from the trees. He did what any regular person would do. He ran. Another officer shined his flashlight into the woods, only to hear a sound that could have been a ghostly wail or the scream of a mountain lion. Startled, he quickly backed away, eyes wide, probably regretting taking the night shift. In another case, two officers responded to a call from a graveyard. Their confident walk toward the graves was abruptly halted when a terrifying scream pierced the air. One of the officers nearly tripped in his rush to get away, and both officers shared the same desperate desire to leave as quickly as possible. In this video, we see some engineers who had to measure some old Japanese tunnels from the Second World War for radiation levels. Because these tunnels are 500 feet or 150 meters deep in the ground and are potentially radioactive, it's therefore off limits to the public. In the past, the tunnels were also used for mining purposes. When the men walk through one of the tunnels, not only does their camera start to go crazy, but something else is recorded that startled them. Although opinions differ on this, some think this was a ghost sighting of an old Japanese soldier. According to the uploader of the video, very small amounts of radioactive radiation were detected, which would be just enough to raise the spirits of soldiers from the distant past. Although the story sounds credible, I don't know if this is a real ghost sighting. What do you think? This TikTok video has been uploaded by a user named Face the Light. The girl plays hide and seek with her sisters and decides to record it. She tells that she can't find her sisters, and that she received a strange message from an anonymous number that her sisters are no longer there. The girl thinks that this is a prank. And shouts through the house that they have to stop scaring her. As she walks through the house, she hears banging and other strange noises. When she arrives at the front door, if you look closely, you can see a creepy face at the bottom left, and as soon as she notices this, she runs away. Moments later, she uploads another video in which you can see someone outside the house.
I have no idea if this event is real, but if it's not, then it's very well acted out. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any more info about it.
In the early hours of the morning, around 5 a.m.,
Police Officer Thomas McCartney
received an unusual report from a colleague. The report indicated that a glowing light had been seen hovering above the Columbia River, prompting McCartney and several other officers to investigate the phenomenon. A man working on a radio, known as Lucky 13, claimed to be directly beneath or very close to this mysterious light. As they listened to Lucky 13's account, he described a large, orange glowing orb descending towards his house. McCartney and his team moved to a higher vantage point. In the south, toward Portland, they spotted another bright orange object resembling a fiery ball. They observed it briefly before refocusing on the original orange light on the hill, which had by then disappeared. Lucky 13 recorded strange sounds coming from the area where the object had been sighted and noted the odd audio over the radio. He described a noise similar to a power plant engine, accompanied by a high-pitched screeching sound. Eventually, the Coast Guard was alerted, and a helicopter and ship were dispatched to the area. But despite a thorough search, no evidence was ever found.
We've all learned not to explore creepy and dark tunnels because, according to various stories, they can hide scary and terrifying things. The person who made this next video had the most chilling exploration of his life when he walked through a tunnel system that was over 10 miles or 16 kilometers long. The tunnel system was said to be hidden deep in a forest. When the person was deep in the tunnel, he noticed that it was very quiet, and suddenly he felt like he was being watched. But he didn't think much of it, and he decided to continue exploring until he encountered a creepy creature in the tunnel out of nowhere. According to some people, this was the Rake, a creepy humanoid creature. What do you think it was? On August 10th, 2020, the United States had one of the strongest thunderstorms in its history. It's also called one of the most expensive thunderstorms, as the damages caused by the storm was $11.5 billion US. In this video, we see how the Derecho storm destroyed Cedar Rapids in Iowa. A Derecho storm is a fast-moving thunderstorm that moves along a relatively straight path. So this video shows how the weather changed dramatically in just 30 minutes. In the first few minutes, it's a normal windy day, but as the video progresses, the wind gust increases, and halfway through, we see trees swaying back and forth, and even breaking off. According to official statistics, approximately 4.4 million trees were destroyed throughout Iowa. By the end of the video, the houses across the street no longer were visible either.
You ever experienced something scary? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos we made, click one on the screen or take a look at the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.